All theistic religions believe in an almighty God who is eternal in time and infinite in space. That is, a being, a divine being that cannot be limited by time and space dimensions. He is omnipotent, all-powerful, omniscient, knows everything, omnipresent. He is everywhere. But there is no such an eternal and infinite being in Buddhism. Buddhism is a realistic religion. It has a realistic outlook of the universe in which we are. According to Buddhism, every item in the universe, not only the universe, everything and being, both in our physical world and in our mental world, are dynamic. Dynamism means the nature of the universal energy that has created everything and being in this universe. That dynamism, the active nature of the universe and everything in it, is called in Buddhism anicca, impermanent. Nothing is permanent. Because everything is made of universal energy, that energy is constantly in a state of transformation. That is why it is dynamic. That transformation of energy, the transformation from one form to another form, is called dukkha in Buddhism. Because of this constant transformation, nothing and no being can retain a permanent identity. Everything is in a flux. That is why the Greek philosopher called Heraclitus, who lived in Greece in the 5th century, said, "No one can step into the same river twice. When we step into the river once, the river has gone down when we step this river for the second time. We can't touch anything again and again. Because even scientifically, everything is made of atoms. Atoms are made of subatomic particles. Both atoms and subatomic particles are in a constant transformation. Electrons are always moving round the nucleus of an atom. It has no one state. In fact, recently scientists have found out in one state electrons are waves, in another state they are particles. But they are neither permanently particles nor waves. Their nature gets constantly transformed. Even protons, neutrons inside the atom are constantly moving, rotating round themselves. Thus, an atom is a field of constant activity, constant transformation, constant changing. Therefore, when we touch something physical made of atom, and we cannot touch it again because the atoms have changed their nature, their form, their state, constant change. Once one understands this reality, one realizes that one cannot get attached to anything, because though we get attached to something, what we get attached to is instant, changing instantly. In Sanskrit it is called sana bangura. Everything is changed then and there, instantly. Instant transformation. If we can hold on to nothing, we can resent nothing. Because what we dislike or hate once is no more for us to dislike or hate again, because it has changed its form. Even beings, even a person. For example, person may become angry and we may hate that person. But in that person, that anger cannot last long. He may be very calm and quiet person again. That calmness, quietness too cannot last long. They constantly change. Our moods are changing from moment to moment. Our forms are changing. We are not what we were babies, or what we were boys or girls, or what we were youths and themselves. Even our form in the mature age get changed in our old age, and that form to get changed at the death, and get decomposed. Thus everything is in a state of constant transformation. Once this reality is realized, one realizes, oh, I cannot get attached to anything, because what I like may not be the same form I like again. Or I can dislike anything, because what I dislike once is not in the same form I dislike when you dislike again. With this reality, our ignorance of the reality of things vanishes. That ignorance is called moha. And our attachment to things vanishes. Attachment is called raga. And our resentment of things vanishes. Resentment is called dosa. With the extinction of attachment, resentment and ignorance, one becomes enlightened. One realizes nirvana. That is why Buddha defined nirvana saying it is raga koyo, dosa koyo, moha koyo. Nirvana is nothing but the extinction of attachment, resentment and ignorance of the reality of things and beings. It is self-realization. And with this universal truth, one cannot find something eternal, something infinite. Everything is finite, limited in time and space. Nothing is eternal. Nothing is infinite. That is the nature of the universe and every item in it that Buddhism has discovered. Therefore, Buddhism is a realistic outlook of the universe, the world outside us. In fact, Buddha has uttered the entire universe or the entire world that we experience are only within our own body. In Rohita Sutta he said, Vyamatta kalebere panyapemi lokancha. 1 fathom body. Within our body, which is about 6 feet. That means what we become aware of are only the signals given by the physical sense organs. They are in our body. Body can give us senses. Sense signals. They are called sanya. I can give the signal of a picture. The signal of light that we become experience has something, has some form. Ears can give the signals of sounds that they experience. Nose can give the smells that it experiences. So is tongue, the taste of things that the tongue can express. So is the body, what it can touch. The body can give signals to the mind. And the entire world that we know is made up of those signals that create mental pictures in our mind. Therefore, our mind is a mental world. What we experience is that mental world. Not only inside us, even outside. As I mentioned earlier, things are changing. Therefore, according to Buddhism, there is no eternity. There is no infinity. Everything is temporary in this universe, and everything in this universe is limited. Limited in time and space. Therefore, we cannot find an eternal divine being anywhere in this universe. Although theistic religions believe in such a God. In Hinduism, at the time of the Buddha, the mighty, almighty God was called Brahma, Mahabrahma. Even Mahabrahma has a temporary existence. For example, in the Satta Suryagamana Sutta, the discourse that you find in the Anguttara Nikaya, volume 4, page 426. And also in the Mahapunyabayi Sutta that we get in the Kuddaka Nikaya, volume 1, page 340. In both these, Brahmas can be born again and again. They too can die. Satta Suryagamana Sutta refers to a spiritual teacher called Sunitha. Sunitto Nama Satta. And this discourse says that he was born again and again as Brahma, Mahabrahma, creator God, 7 times on 7 occasions. In the sutta called Mahapunyabayi Sutta, Buddha said that he was born Mahabrahma 7 times in that sutta. That means even the Almighty God in Buddhism, the so-called Almighty God, Buddhism, Mahabrahma, is subject to birth, decay and death. That means nothing is permanent. But there were certain divine beings called Brahmas who believed that they were infinite and eternal. For example, in the Bhakka Brahma Sutra that you get in Samyutta Nikaya Volume 1, page 258, there were 72 such Brahmas who believed that they were permanent beings, that they are not going to die, they can live forever. But ultimately, they to realize their temporal nature. Therefore, eternity and infinity in theistic religions can be called a myth. There is no reality in it, even according to modern science. There is nothing infinite and eternal. Everything is a field of energy, limited by time and space. Limited by time because their form gets changed, transformed every moment. Because every form in this universe is made of universal energy. That energy is dynamic, getting transformed every moment. And therefore, no form can retain a permanent identity. This universal truth is expressed by the words anicchata, dukkhata and anattata in Buddhism. Anicca means dynamic. Dukkhata is getting transformed, getting changed, deteriorated. Whatever that is generated gets deteriorated. Decay, birth, decay and death. If everything is born to decay and die, nothing can retain a permanent identity. And that is called anattata. No permanent identity. Therefore, the concept of an almighty being who is all-powerful, almighty, omnipresent, is a myth. It's not an actual reality. It is only a belief. In fact, Buddha has once said, when somebody asks, are you going to live after death? Buddha said, the Buddha lives after death eternally is a myth. It's only an idea, ditti. That Buddha is going to be no more after death, there is also an idea, there is a concept. Buddha is not a person, but a universal power, a universal nature. It has no form, no limit, a form not limited by time and space. That is why for about 500 years after the passing of the Buddha, no Buddha image was made. Buddha images were made only about 500 years after the Buddha's passing away. With the influence of Greek images in Gandhara and Mathura. And modern Buddha images follow that tradition. But in early Buddhism, There's no form, no image to indicate the formless Buddha, the timeless Buddha, the spaceless Buddha. Buddha is made of, the physical body is made of energy. It too can die and get dissolved. According to modern science, universal energy can neither be created nor destroyed. So is the Buddha energy. Buddha energy cannot be created, nor cannot be destroyed. It is there, only to be discovered. Getting enlightened means discovering that eternal nature. But that nature is a dhammata, it's a nature without a form, without an identity. Form can have, all forms are finite. But Buddha has no such a form. That is why, as I mentioned earlier, Buddha images were not created in the 5 centuries after the first 5 centuries after the passing away of the Buddha. But Buddha is never referred to in Buddhism as an almighty, all-powerful, omnipresent divine being. The Buddha we experience, the Buddha in history was a human being, but a superhuman being, in whom there was that power of the Buddhahood, the nature of the Buddhahood. And that nature is not only in the Buddha, but in us too, and in every being, to be discovered one day by enlightenment.